Some everyday foods can spike blood sugar faster than dessert, even when the package looks healthy. White bread, breakfast cereal, fruit juice, sweet coffee, large rice portions, and mashed potatoes are common examples. The strongest spikes usually come from concentrated carbohydrates that digest quickly and contain little fiber. The practical answer is not banning carbohydrates, but changing the type, portion, and form you eat most often. Blood sugar naturally rises after eating carbohydrates. The size and speed of that rise depend on the food, the serving, and your metabolism. A modest rise is normal. Repeated large spikes matter more for people with diabetes, prediabetes, or other problems controlling blood sugar. The usual suspects are not only candy and cake. Highly processed starches, sugary drinks, and oversized portions can create sharp rises. Their fiber and structure are often removed, so sugar reaches your blood quickly. White bread, cereal, juice, rice, noodles, and potatoes deserve attention. I'm Dr. Kim, a licensed physician. This is not medical advice. Consult your doctor. Your body breaks most carbohydrates into glucose, the sugar that travels through your blood. Insulin helps move glucose from your blood into your cells. A large amount arriving quickly creates a greater demand for insulin. Fiber slows that arrival and helps you feel full. Sweetness alone is a poor guide. Starch becomes glucose during digestion, so a plain bagel can raise blood sugar sharply without tasting sweet. Mashed potatoes, white rice, crackers, and many cereals can behave more like sugar than most people expect. Sugary drinks are among the fastest offenders. Regular soda, sweet tea, sports drinks, energy drinks, and many bottled coffees provide sugar without meaningful fiber. Liquid carbohydrates require little digestion, so a large serving can send glucose into the bloodstream very quickly. Fruit juice creates the same problem even without added sugar. Juicing removes much of the structure that slows eating and digestion. One glass can contain the carbohydrate from several pieces of fruit. Whole fruit usually produces greater fullness and a gentler rise. Smoothies can create a similar mismatch. Fruit, juice, sweetened yogurt, and flavored powders can combine into a large liquid carbohydrate load. Blending does not make fruit unhealthy. It makes large amounts easier to consume quickly and often reduces the fullness created by chewing. Fast blood sugar rises also come from processed starches. White bread, bagels, English muffins, and many crackers can hit hard. Milling turns grain into fine particles that your digestive system can break down quickly. A large bagel may contain several bread-sized servings before cream cheese, jam, or sweet coffee is added. Whole grain on the package does not settle the question. A finely ground whole grain bread may digest faster than intact oats, barley, or grain kernels. Whole grain ingredients can add nutrients and fiber, but they do not cancel heavy processing or a large serving. Breakfast cereal creates another trap. Many cereals are finely processed, low in fiber, and easy to overpour. Sweetened varieties add more sugar, but plain flakes can still digest rapidly. Milk, dried fruit, honey, or a banana can push the total carbohydrate much higher. A breakfast marketed as healthy can contain more rapidly digested carbohydrate than many people expect. Granola, flavored yogurt, dried fruit, and orange juice can create a large carbohydrate load. Each item looks reasonable alone. Together, they may produce a sharper rise than a small dessert. With staple starches, serving size becomes even more important. A large bowl of white rice or refined noodles may contain more carbohydrate than a small dessert. That does not make these foods forbidden. A side serving and a full bowl can produce very different responses. Potatoes require the same attention. Baked potatoes, fries, and mashed potatoes can raise blood sugar quickly, depending on preparation and portion. Mashing breaks down the food structure. Fries add fat and calories, while the potato portion still matters. Preparation can change how quickly these starches digest. Cooking rice, pasta, or potatoes until very soft often makes them easier to break down. Cooling them may create some resistant starch, which digests more slowly. The effect is modest and portion size usually matters more. Reheating does not make the carbohydrate disappear. Fat can change the timing of the blood sugar rise without erasing the carbohydrate. Cookies, pastries, and ice cream may raise blood sugar later than soda or white bread. The peak can arrive later, and the overall response can still be substantial. Their total carbohydrate still counts. The same stacking happens at lunch or dinner. A burger bun, large fries, sugary drink, and sweet sauce create 4 carbohydrate sources at once. The total meal matters more than whether each item seems ordinary. Several moderate choices can become one high carbohydrate meal. A score can help, but it cannot judge a full meal for you. The glycemic index shows how quickly a carbohydrate food raises blood sugar. Glycemic load combines that speed with the amount of carbohydrate in a serving. Both scores become less useful when several foods are eaten together. The features that matter most in real meals are total carbohydrate, processing, fiber, and serving size. These factors often tell you more than sweetness, color, or front label claims. A smaller portion of a fast-digesting food may raise blood sugar less than a huge portion of a healthier-looking choice. Use 4 questions when judging an unfamiliar meal. How much total carbohydrate is in your real serving? How much fiber is present? Is the food liquid, finely ground, or heavily processed? Are several carbohydrate sources combined in the same meal? Those 4 questions are useful, but they cannot predict every personal response. Sleep, stress, recent activity, illness, medication, and time of day can change the result. 2 people may eat the same meal and see different readings. One unusual reading does not prove a pattern. With medical guidance, a glucose meter or wearable sensor can reveal your personal response. A wearable sensor tracks glucose throughout the day. Compare similar meals under similar conditions and look for repeated patterns instead of reacting to one isolated number. Once you identify the foods that raise your blood sugar most, do not ban every carbohydrate. Reduce the most concentrated sources first. Replace sweet drinks with water, sparkling water, or unsweetened tea. Measure the starch instead of letting the serving grow automatically. Build meals around vegetables and a protein source, then add a measured carbohydrate portion. Pairing the carbohydrate with protein and vegetables may soften the rise. It cannot erase an excessive carbohydrate load. Eggs do not make a giant bagel smaller. Choose whole fruit instead of juice. Replace sugary cereal with less processed oats or a higher fiber option. Use 1 slice of bread instead of a large bagel. Reduce rice, noodles, or potatoes rather than removing them automatically. These carbohydrate reductions require extra caution for people using insulin or medicines that can cause low blood sugar. Cutting carbohydrates suddenly may lower glucose more than expected. Food changes should match medication guidance. Repeated abnormal readings or symptoms deserve medical review. The foods most likely to spike blood sugar are concentrated carbohydrates that digest quickly. Sweet drinks, juice, white bread, cereal, rice, noodles, and potatoes lead the list. More concentrated carbohydrate, less fiber, and heavier processing usually mean a sharper rise. Smaller portions and fewer carbohydrate sources in one meal make the biggest practical difference. A healthy-looking label matters less than the portion, processing, fiber, and total carbohydrate in the full meal. Medicine simplified. That's what this channel does. If you want more, hit subscribe. This is not medical advice. Consult your doctor.